Hello, welcome to the Learn English Lab. Today's podcast, English Listening Practice Podcast. Topic name is 30 plus C1 level vocabulary. Cooking. Welcome back to the deep dive. This is the place where we really get stuck into fascinating material to uncover those rich insights, specifically for you. So if you're here looking for knowledge, maybe wanting to refine your English, or you're just curious about the world, or you're definitely in the right place, we love digging into a subject, bringing you the important stuff in a way that's hopefully clear and engaging. And today we're heading off on a bit of a culinary adventure. It promises to, elevate your vocabulary and maybe deepen your appreciation for the amazing world of food. Okay, let's truly unpack this. Today we're diving headfirst, or maybe fork first, into a really captivating subject, a full guide to C1 level vocabulary, all about cooking. Now you might think, cooking is just following recipes, isn't it? But as we start to peel back the layers, you'll see it's so much more complex. It's actually this vibrant sensory language. Think textures, intricate processes, beautiful presentations.
It all brings food to life. So our mission today, to equip you, our listener, with some pretty sophisticated expressions. And these aren't just about, sounding fancy. They're perfect if you write food blogs or maybe travel narratives that make people hungry just reading them. Or perhaps you want to join in gourmet discussions with more confidence. Or even just add a bit more, let's say, flavor to your everyday chats about food. This deep dive, it isn't just about memorizing word lists. It's really about understanding how to use these words subtly, powerfully, to genuinely lift your communication about food.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating here is how when you get to that C1 level, having specialized vocabulary in a specific area like cooking, it becomes incredibly powerful for advanced learners. You move beyond just saying food is, good or bad. You start to articulate this really profound, almost poetic appreciation for the whole culinary experience. These terms, they don't just sort of bridge the gap between, say, a tasty meal and a beautifully crafted dish. They actually let you convey the entire sensory journey from the prep right through to the palate. So this guide, this deep dive, it's really designed to help you, whether you're a home chef trying new things, or maybe a food writer looking for that perfect word, or perhaps you're studying for advanced English exams where, let's face it, descriptive power and nuance are key. It's all about helping you whip up, if you like, more vivid and precise language, enhancing your ability to connect with and really talk eloquently about the intricate world of food.
All right then, let's roll up our sleeves. Time to get into the heart of it. We're going to systematically explore a really fantastic range of C1 culinary terms. We'll start with those core actions, those preparation techniques, the things that really form the essence of a dish. And we're kicking off with a word that's often the start of something wonderful, like wonderfully crispy or incredibly fluffy. That word is batter. Now, when I hear batter, I immediately think of maybe delicate tempura, or perhaps a stack of perfect golden pancakes. Beyond just being a mixture, what's the real core of batter?
Well, at its most basic, batter is, as you said, a semi-liquid mix, usually flour, a liquid like milk or water, and often eggs. But, for a C1 learner, the key isn't just what it is, it's its incredible versatility. And the specific purpose it serves in a dish, it's really an engineered mixture designed for specific textural changes. It's not just a coating, it's a vehicle for texture, sometimes even for flavor.
Right, so it's about intention, the desired outcome. That really reframes it, doesn't it? How does that versatility actually play out, especially for something, say, delicate like fish?
It's all about the finesse, really. Let's take that first example. The chef prepared a light batter for the fish fillets, ensuring they would crisp up perfectly in the hot oil. Okay, that phrase, light batter, is super descriptive, isn't it? It means a thin, airy consistency. That's crucial for getting that delicate, crunchy outside that complements the fish without, overwhelming it. A lighter batter means maximum crispness when you fry. You get that lovely textural contrast. The fish stays the star. It's the difference between, say, a delicate crunch and a heavy, almost bready coating.
Ah, I see. So it's that sort of delicate, almost ethereal crispness we're after.
Yeah.
But what about pancakes? Those classic fluffy ones. That's a totally different texture goal.
Completely different, yes. And for that, we look at the second example. For fluffy pancakes, whisk the batter vigorously to incorporate air before coaching. This points to a really crucial technique. That vigorous whisking, it isn't just about mixing, it's aeration. You're getting air in there. Pumping air into the batter creates these tiny pockets. They expand when they hit the heat, giving pancakes their volume, that light, fluffy texture everyone loves. It's a direct link. Precise action, airy outcome.
I just can't talk about batter without thinking of, a true British classic.
Oh, absolutely. Perfect segue. The third example nails this. Traditional Yorkshire puddings rely on a simple batter poured into hot fat for that signature rise. This puts us right into a specific cultural context and a bit of science too. The simple batter here, usually just flour, eggs, milk, it's designed to react dramatically with really hot fat in the oven. What happens is the steam inside the batter expands rapidly. That's what makes them puff up so impressively, creating those unique, airy Yorkshire puddings. It really shows batter's specific, almost theatrical role in certain baking processes, how it contributes to a unique identity and that dramatic texture change. And thinking about synonyms, you might hear coating, which is more general, or dough mix, that's usually thicker, less liquid, or even tempura base, very specific Japanese batter, often ice cold. Each one hints at ingredients or the end result. The C1 difference is knowing which term fits which purpose.
Okay, from transforming ingredients, let's switch to unifying them. Our next term, to blend, makes me think of, well, culinary harmony, bringing different things together into something. What's the C1 angle here, beyond just mixing?
Culinary harmony. I like that. Yeah, for advanced learners, to blend goes beyond just mixing. It includes that idea of intention, the desired final state. It's about getting a specific mouthfeel or a unified flavor, maybe even structural integrity. Things that a simpler word like mix doesn't quite capture. Often it involves a machine, like a blender, sure. But the purpose is always the key thing.
So it's not just getting ingredients in the same bowl, but how they integrate and why that specific integration is important. I'm thinking of something luxurious, maybe perfectly smooth.
Exactly what you should be thinking. Take this example. To achieve a velvety soup, blend the roasted vegetables with cream until smooth. See, velvety isn't just a description, it's the goal. Blending here isn't just liquefying the soup. It's breaking down those vegetable fibers, the fat from the cream, so finely that they create this perceptibly smooth, luxurious feel on the tongue. It's a crucial post-cooking step for elevation, ensuring complete integration, a totally consistent mouthfeel.
That makes total sense. And I guess the opposite could be true too. Maybe sometimes you want a coarser blend, but it's still deliberate. What about drinks? Blending is almost standard there.
That's a really important nuance. For drinks, the precision matters just as much, though often it's about speed and freshness. Consider, the mixologist used a blender to blend fresh fruits with yogurt for a refreshing smoothie. Here, blend means a quick, thorough mixing. Individual ingredients combine into a new, harmonious taste and a smooth, drinkable consistency. For a C1 learner, you'd even think about the type of blender. High-speed ones make ultra-smooth textures. A stick blender might leave it a bit chunkier. Different results for different preferences. The term captures that deliberate pulverization for flavor fusion.
Interesting. So to blend covers everything from like brute force pulverizing to really delicate integration. And I'm thinking about baking now, where over blending can actually ruin things. How does that fit?
A brilliant distinction. It really shows the term's flexibility and also the potential dangers. In pastry making, blend the butter into the flour gently to avoid overworking the dough. This is where the technique within blend is critical. Gently blending butter into flour, often called cutting in, is about creating little pockets of fat. That's what gives you a tender, flaky crust. If you overblend or overwork it, you develop too much gluten. Result: a tough, nasty texture. It's really about understanding the delicate science of baking. So yeah, you could just say to mix, but to blend here emphasizes that specific controlled integration. Then you have related words like to puree, which almost always means blending down to an extremely smooth, uniform texture. Think baby food or very refined sauces. And to emulsify, that's a technical subset of blending. It's specifically about forcing two liquids that don't normally mix, like oil and vinegar, to combine stably, often using something like egg yolk. Think mayonnaise or hollandaise sauce.
Okay, our next term, to carve, feels like it's about precision, but also elegant presentation. It often makes me think of a holiday meal or maybe a professional chef showing off their skills. What makes carving a C1 concept to get right?
Yeah, to carve. For a C1 learner, it's not just cutting meat. It's about the art and the science of portioning cooked meat, especially big roasts. Doing it with skill, thinking about tenderness and how it looks. It shows culinary skill, respect for the ingredient. It often has a certain ceremony, a technical skill that goes beyond just, slicing.
So there's definitely a skill element, particularly in a more formal setting.
Absolutely. The first example really shows this. The host deftly carved the turkey at the holiday table, serving generous portions to each guest. That word deftly is key. It suggests skill, quickness, practice. The whole scenario emphasizes not just the cutting, but the expertise and presentation in a formal dining situation. It's part of the hospitality ritual, showing off the effort involved.
And beyond just looking good, I imagine there are technical reasons for how you should carve, especially for tenderness.
Oh, a vital technical reason. Our second example gives that crucial advice. After slow roasting, carve the lamb against the grain for maximum tenderness. This is key culinary wisdom. Carving against the grain means cutting across the muscle fibers, perpendicular to them. This shortens those fibers, making the meat much, much more tender and easier to chew. It directly impacts the eating experience, making every bite as good as possible.
And it can also be quite a performance, can't it? Like a show in some restaurants.
Very much so. In professional kitchens, chefs carve roasts tableside to impress diners. This really highlights that performative side in fine dining. Carving becomes part of the guest experience, adds a bit of theater, bespoke service, direct interaction. The chef gets to show their expertise right there, enhances that feeling of luxury, personalized attention. And for similar actions, you might use to slice, that's more general, or to portion, focusing on dividing into servings, or even to joint, specifically for separating a bird or big cut into its natural parts. Each has its own specific use.
Right. Now, for a cooking method known for creating really distinctive textures, often with that undeniable crunch, let's talk about to deep fry. Maybe not the healthiest, but it has a huge place in cooking globally. What's the C1 insight into its impact?
To deep fry, it means cooking food by completely submerging it in hot oil. For C1, the insight is understanding not just what it does, but the science behind that signature crispness and flavor. And its cultural role, too. It's about achieving really rapid, intense heat transfer. Cooks things quickly, often creating a sealed, flavorful crust.
And that precision you mentioned before, especially with temperature, that sounds absolutely vital here.
Critical for success, absolutely. The first example shows this perfectly. To achieve golden perfection, deep fry the donuts at 180 degrees C for 3 minutes. See? Specific temperature, specific time. They're essential for getting that golden perfection, that light, airy texture in something like a donut. It's a delicate balance. Too low, things get greasy. Too high, they burn before cooking inside.
Deep frying is also just synonymous with so much amazing street food everywhere, isn't it? It connects us to these really vibrant food traditions.
Oh, definitely. Street food vendors deep fry samosas to order, filling the air with aromatic spices. This paints a vivid picture of cultural street food. Deep frying to order emphasizes the freshness, the immediate appeal, creates that inviting sensory hit for people walking by. It shows how deep frying can be central to community food culture, that instant gratification.
But let's be honest, not everyone's a huge fan these days, with health consciousness growing.
You're right, there's a shift. Health-conscious cooks rarely deep fry, opting for air-frying alternatives instead. This example shows that modern contrast. It reflects changing dietary trends, a preference for methods that try to get similar textures but with way less oil. It shows a shift driven by health concerns, where technology like air frying tries to mimic deep frying effects without all the fat. Other ways to say it, maybe to fry submerge, to immerse fry, or even to oil bath cook, all emphasize that complete submersion in hot fat.
Okay, moving on. We have to defrost. Seems simple, but it's absolutely crucial in meal prep. Often overlooked or done wrong, sometimes with health risks. What's the advanced learner's take on defrosting?
To defrost means causing something frozen to warm up, letting ice or frost melt, getting it ready for cooking. For a C1 learner, it's about understanding the different methods, the risks involved, and the impact on food quality, not just the basic action. It's fundamental to food safety, proper meal planning.
And food safety is a massive part of that, isn't it? Not just convenience.
Absolutely critical. Always defrost the chicken in the fridge overnight to prevent bacterial growth. This highlights a vital safety practice. Defrosting slowly in a controlled, cold place like the fridge minimizes the risk of harmful bacteria multiplying quickly. That's crucial for preventing food poisoning. It's all about controlling those temperature danger zones.
But for those of us often rushing around, there are quicker ways, even if they're maybe not ideal.
Yes, for convenience, definitely. Microwave defrosting speeds up the process for quick dinners. This shows the time-saving aspect for busy kitchens. Microwaves offer a fast way to defrost, though it's often best if you're cooking immediately afterwards, as they can sometimes start cooking the edges unevenly.
And what about more advanced professional methods to ensure top quality, especially for delicate things like seafood?
Right, for professional quality. Chefs defrost seafood sous vide for even results. This introduces a more advanced technique, sous vide defrosting. You put the food in a vacuum-sealed bag, submerge it in precisely temperature-controlled water. This ensures incredibly even, gentle thawing. It minimizes cell damage, preserves the texture and flavor of delicate things like seafood, gives you superior, professional-level results. Alternatives. To thaw is the most common synonym. You might also hear to unfreeze or to de-ice.
Okay, our next word takes us from the kitchen right into our bodies, to digest. This is all about how we process and get nourishment from all that delicious food we just cooked. The biological marvel, really. For a C1 learner, what are the nuances when talking about digestion?
That's a great point. To digest means breaking down food in the body, chemically and mechanically, into simpler substances that can be absorbed and used for nutrients, energy. For a C1 learner, the nuance is in understanding the mechanisms, the factors that influence it, and its implications for health and well-being. It's a complex dance between biology and what we eat.
And it's a complicated process involving lots of internal workings, right? I vaguely remember enzymes from school.
Indeed. Enzymes help digest carbohydrates into simple sugars for energy. This explains a specific biochemical process central to nutrition talk. Enzymes are biological catalysts. They break down complex food molecules like carbs into simpler forms like sugars that the body can easily absorb into the bloodstream and use for energy. A fundamental conversion.
So certain foods or even supplements can help or hinder this process for different people.
Precisely. Probiotics aid in digesting dairy for lactose-intolerant individuals. This connects to specific health benefits, dietary advice. Probiotics, beneficial microorganisms, can help people who struggle with lactose intolerance. They provide enzymes that help break down lactose, making dairy easier to handle, reducing discomfort. It's a targeted dietary intervention.
And how we eat the types of food, the quantities that can also profoundly affect digestion, and just how we feel overall.
Very much so. Heavy meals take longer to digest, leading to post-dinner lethargy. This describes the physiological effects on our well-being. A meal heavy in fats and complex carbs needs more energy and time for the body to process. This increased digestive effort can divert blood flow and energy, often making you feel sluggish, lethargic afterwards. Understanding this helps make choices for better energy and comfort. Synonyms you could use: to assimilate, which implies absorption into the body, or to process, or to metabolize, which is broader, referring to chemical processes in living things.
Okay, back to the hands-on kitchen stuff. Next up, to mash. A technique that often brings comforting, soft, beautifully textured dishes to mind. What's the C1 insight into the art of mashing?
To mash, it means crushing food into a soft mass, usually with a fork, a masher, maybe even a pestle. For a C1 learner, it's about understanding the desired result for different ingredients, the tools you might use, and, critically, that fine line between perfect texture and overworking it. It's about control, consistency.
And it's absolutely key for getting that perfect, smooth texture in classic comfort foods we all know and love, like mashed potatoes.
Definitely. Marrow the boiled potatoes with butter and cream for silky mashed potatoes. This example perfectly captures that goal. Achieving desired creaminess in a comfort food staple. The act of mashing, plus adding butter and cream, breaks down the potato cells effectively, creates that wonderfully smooth, silky texture. That's the benchmark for good mash. The technique directly impacts the mouthfeel.
I've also seen mashing used really creatively in modern plant-based cooking. Shows it's adaptable beyond just potatoes.
Yes, incredibly adaptable. In vegan recipes, mash chickpeas for a tuna salad alternative. This shows creative plant-based substitutions in modern food. Mashing chickpeas gives them a texture remarkably like flaked tuna, makes them an excellent protein-rich base for a vegan tuna salad or sandwich filling. A clever way to mimic familiar textures with different ingredients.
But there's definitely a fine line, isn't there, between just right and over mashing, especially for things where texture is key, like guacamole.
An incredibly important distinction, yes. Over mashing avocados turns guacamole into a paste. This warns against mashing too much in texture-sensitive dishes. Guacamole is often best with some texture, little chunks of avocado, onion, tomato. Over-mashing destroys that desirable texture. You end up with an unappealing, overly smooth, almost baby food paste. It shows that the degree of mashing is crucial. In other words, to puree implies a very smooth result. To smash often suggests more force, less refinement. And to pulverize implies reducing to powder or very fine particles.
Okay, the next word, to reheat, is a common kitchen task for anyone who likes leftovers, which is most of us, right? But it's not always just about warming it up. What are the C1 considerations for reheating food?
You're right, it's more nuanced than it looks. To reheat means warming previously cooked food again. For a C1 learner, it's about understanding the best methods for different foods, thinking about food safety, and trying to maintain or restore quality, not just make it hot. It's a balancing act. Convenience versus culinary quality.
And the method you pick can really affect the quality and enjoyment, can't it? Especially for something like, say, lasagna with a crispy top.
Significantly. Reheat the lasagna in the oven to restore its crispy top. This advises on methods for keeping quality and texture in leftovers. For dishes like lasagna, oven reheating helps recrisp that top layer and heats it evenly throughout. Prevents soggy pasta, keeps the cheese integrity, things that often suffer in a microwave.
Different foods definitely need different approaches to avoid drying out or just becoming unpleasant. Rice, for example.
Absolutely correct. Steaming is ideal to reheat rice without drying it out. This highlights how technique choices are crucial for different food types, especially grains. Steaming adds moisture and gentle heat, prevents rice from getting hard, dry, or clumpy, common problems with other reheating methods. It helps bring back that original texture.
And there are even some foods, surprisingly, that you need to be careful about reheating because of safety.
Yes, absolutely. Never reheat spinach to avoid nitrate buildup. This touches on specific food safety concerns C1 learners should know. Spinach and other leafy greens can accumulate nitrates. When reheated, these can convert to potentially harmful nitrites. While modern advice might be a bit more flexible for quick reheating, it's a crucial reminder of chemical changes that can happen. Other phrases: to warm over, to revive, suggesting restoring it to a fresh state or simply to heat again.
Next up is to grate. A seemingly simple action, but one that can unlock intense flavors and add delicate, almost lacy textures. What makes grating an important C1 technique?
To grate means cutting food into small pieces, shreds, or ribbons using a tool with sharp holes, a grater, or maybe a microplane. For a C1 learner, it's understanding how grating maximizes surface area for flavor release, creates specific textural effects, and acts as an essential finishing technique in many cuisines. It's about precision and impact.
Yeah, I love how it can be that quick finishing touch that just brightens everything up.
Yeah.
Like lemon zest.
Perfect for that. Great fresh lemon zest over the pasta for a burst of citrus. This shows how grating, especially zest, massively boosts flavor as a finishing touch. Those fine shreds release potent aromatic oils right onto the dish, gives an immediate vibrant hit of citrus acidity and aroma, cuts through richness, lifts the whole taste.
And it's absolutely essential for getting the right texture in certain classic recipes, ensuring they taste authentic. Parmesan and carbonara, maybe?
Definitely. Finely grate Parmesan for authentic carbonara. This specifies the exact texture needed in traditional Italian recipes. Finely grated Parmesan melts beautifully, integrates seamlessly into the sauce, contributes to that characteristic creamy texture and salty umami flavor. A coarser grate just wouldn't give the same smoothness.
It's also really useful for adding color and nice texture to raw things, like salads.
Indeed. Grate carrots for a colorful salad base. This applies to raw preps. Grated carrots add vibrant color, subtle sweetness, a pleasant crunch, and they mix in easily. It's a good way to get raw veg in that's easy to chew and distributes flavor well. Synonyms for grate. To shred, often for larger pieces. To rasp suggests a rougher action, often for hard cheese. Or to microplane, implying a very fine, delicate shred with a specific tool.
Following closely, we have to grind. This action is all about crushing ingredients to release their hidden smells and create very specific consistencies, often central to a dish's identity. What makes grinding a C1 concept?
To grind means crushing something into small particles, usually by rubbing or pressing it against a hard surface. Think mortar and pestle or a grinder machine. For a C1 learner, it's about appreciating the freshness and intensity it brings, the control you get over texture, and its fundamental role in unlocking flavor compounds that pre-ground versions often lack. It's about maximizing potency.
This sounds incredibly important for fresh spices. The difference between whole and pre-ground can be huge, right?
Absolutely crucial for flavor intensity. Grind whole spices for maximum aroma in curries. This stresses the importance of freshness in spice use. Whole spices hold on to their volatile oils and aromas much better than pre-ground ones. Grinding them just before cooking releases those intense, complex flavors, makes a massive difference to the dish's character and depth, a key step in building an aromatic foundation.
And it's a fundamental, almost ritual step in coffee making for enthusiasts.
A key element in coffee culture precision, definitely. Baristas grind beans just before brewing. This highlights how grinding fresh ensures the best flavor extraction. The moment coffee beans are ground, they start losing delicate aromas and flavors rapidly. Grinding immediately before brewing preserves those complex, volatile compounds, ensures a superior, fresher cup.
Even traditional tools like a mortar and pestle are perfectly designed for this. Shows how ancient the technique is.
They are incredibly efficient. Mortars grind herbs into pastes effortlessly. This describes how traditional tools work really well for grinding and crushing things, especially herbs, into fine pastes. That action, often helped by friction, breaks cell walls, allows maximum flavor infusion into a dish, much more than just chopping. Other terms. To mill, often for grains or larger amounts, to pulverize implies reducing to a fine powder, or to comminute, a more technical term for reducing to small pieces.
Okay, next, a gentle, patient cooking method, often implying a slow, deliberate buildup of flavor to simmer. This isn't about fast boiling, is it? Feels much more contemplative. What does simmering really mean at a C1 level?
Contemplative, that captures it perfectly. To simmer means cooking something just below boiling point, allowing it to bubble gently, consistently, usually between about 85 to 95 degrees Celsius. For a C1 learner, it's about appreciating how this sustained, gentle heat develops complex flavors, tenderizes ingredients without being harsh, and reduces liquids gracefully. It's a foundational technique for depth.
And it's absolutely fantastic for getting those deep, complex flavors and sauces where everything seems to meld together beautifully.
It truly is transformative. Simmer the sauce for hours to meld flavors. This explains how this extended gentle heating technique builds depth in sauces. It lets ingredients interact slowly, releasing their flavors, integrating them into a rich, cohesive whole, prevents any one ingredient from dominating. It's a process of flavor fusion, maturation, softens any harsh edges.
It's also an absolutely essential step for making rich, clear broths and stocks, the backbone of so many great dishes.
Fundamental, yes. Let the stock simmer to extract bone's essence. This emphasizes its essential role in creating rich, flavorful broths and stocks. The gentle, consistent heat over a long time allows flavors, nutrients, collagen from bones and veg to be slowly, thoroughly extracted into the liquid, forms a robust, nutritious base for other dishes without making it cloudy.
And it's a smart way to concentrate liquids without risking them scorching or burning.
A key technique for concentration and refinement. Simmering reduces liquids without scorching. This highlights its usefulness for thickening sauces or reducing stocks. The low, gentle heat lets water evaporate steadily, controllably, concentrates flavors, thickens consistency, without the risk of burning, which can happen easily with a rapid, uncontrolled boil. Other terms. Maybe to low boil, but that's less precise. To stew gently overlaps with stewing, but stewing often implies more solid ingredients. Or to poach, though poaching usually involves delicate food cooked in the simmering liquid rather than the liquid itself being the focus.
Another really healthy and effective cooking method, often praised for keeping nutrients and natural flavors, is to steam. What makes steaming a C1 concept worth exploring?
To steam means cooking food using the vapor from boiling water, often in a steamer basket so the food doesn't touch the water directly. For a C1 learner, it's about understanding its nutritional benefits, its cultural significance, its suitability for delicate ingredients, and its precise application for texture and color. It's about gentle, efficient cooking.
It's widely praised for being healthy, keeping vegetables looking vibrant.
For excellent reasons, certainly. Steam vegetables to retain vibrant colors and nutrients. This highlights a major health benefit. Steaming cooks vegetables gently, preserves their natural bright colors, crisp, tender textures, and importantly, a higher percentage of heat-sensitive vitamins and minerals compared to boiling, where nutrients can just leach out into the water.
And it's a method deeply rooted in many cultures, often linked with specific iconic dishes like dim sum.
Absolutely. Dim sum is traditionally steamed in bamboo baskets. This connects the technique to its rich cultural uses, especially in East Asian cooking. Bamboo steamers let the food cook gently, evenly, and they impart a subtle, earthy smell. Steaming is integral to the delicate texture and presentation of these traditional dishes, shows its cultural depth.
And for certain delicate foods, like fish, it seems uniquely perfect for preserving texture.
Perfect for them, yes. Steam fish for tender, flaky results. This highlights steaming as an ideal method for delicate seafood. The gentle, moist heat cooks fish without drying it out, results in a tender, moist, beautifully flaky texture, preserves its delicate flavor, ensures it's not overcooked. Other terms, to vapor cook, to moist heat, or maybe to blanch, though blanching is usually a very quick steam or dip, followed by chilling.
Moving on, we have to stew. This word instantly makes me think of warmth, comfort, dishes packed with deep, slow-cooked flavors. It implies a long, patient process, doesn't it?
It certainly does. To stew means cooking something at a low temperature in liquid, usually in a covered pot, letting flavors meld and ingredients tenderize over a long time. For a C1 learner, it's recognizing its transformative power on tougher ingredients, the flavor development it allows, and its cultural links to hearty, comforting food.
And it's synonymous with some truly classic, world-famous dishes that rely on this patient technique, like beef bourguignon.
Indeed. Stew beef with wine for tender bourguignon. This references that classic French dish as a prime example of stewing. The long, slow cooking in wine, broth, aromatics, it breaks down tougher cuts of beef beautifully, renders them incredibly tender, infuses them with rich, complex, layered flavors, a culinary masterpiece achieved through patience.
So it's perfectly suited for hearty, seasonal meals, especially when it's cold outside.
Absolutely. Vegetable stews comfort on cold days. This highlights its seasonal appeal. Stews, with their warm, rich liquids and tender ingredients, are incredibly comforting, satisfying. They give a sense of warmth, deep nourishment, often use seasonal root veg and hearty ingredients, ideal for colder weather.
And modern kitchens have made this traditional slow method much easier and more convenient for busy people. Slow cookers, for instance.
Much simpler, thankfully. Slow cookers simplify stewing. This mentions modern conveniences. Appliances like slow cookers are designed perfectly for stewing. They let ingredients simmer gently for hours with minimal watching. Makes this traditional, time-heavy method accessible for busy lives without sacrificing flavor development. You could also say to braise, though that often starts with searing and uses less liquid, maybe half submerged. To slow cook is a broader term. Or to casserole, often cooked in an oven dish with a lid.
Now, a word very similar to reheat, but often implying a gentler action, a slightly different nuance, to warm up. What's the subtle difference here for advanced learners?
That's a sharp distinction. To warm up means making already cooked food warm again, often implying less intense or complete heating than to reheat. For a C1 learner, the difference is in the degree of heat applied, the desired temperature, and the purpose. Often just to restore optimal eating temperature or texture, not necessarily ensure full recooking. It's a milder approach.
It sounds like it's often about restoring things to their best state, rather than just blasting them with heat, like bread.
For sure. Warm up the bread in the oven briefly. This focuses on restoring specific textures, like the crustiness of bread, without drying it out. A quick warm-up in the oven brings back that freshly baked feel, a nice crust. Enhances the sensory experience. A full reheat might just make it tough.
And it's a pretty common method for just quickly heating small portions of leftovers.
A quick and familiar method, undoubtedly. Microwave to warm up leftovers safely. The microwave offers a fast, convenient way to warm up smaller bits of leftovers, ensures they reach a safe eating temperature without necessarily aiming for the same textural perfection as other methods. Prioritizes speed.
Sometimes a gentle warm-up can actually deepen flavors, right? Making soup taste even better the next day.
It can, surprisingly. Warm up soup on the stove for flavor. This emphasizes how gentle warming can actually enhance taste in some dishes. Letting soup warm slowly on the stove gives flavors a chance to deepen, meld further. Often makes it taste even better the next day as everything continues to integrate. Other phrases, to heat gently, to revive again, restoring freshness, or to temper, meaning bringing to a specific, usually moderate, temperature.
Okay, our next technique is to whip. A truly transformative action that, for me, always signals adding air, volume, ethereal lightness. It's quite dramatic to watch, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's the C1 appreciation for whipping?
It truly is transformative. To whip means mixing ingredients vigorously, usually with a whisk or electric mixer, to incorporate air and achieve a specific light, airy texture, often increasing the volume. For a C1 learner, it's about understanding the science of aeration, its crucial role in baking and desserts, and the impact on mouthfeel. It's about engineering lightness.
It's absolutely essential for getting volume and structure in so many baking recipes. Meringues, for example.
Absolutely crucial for baking volume and stability. Whip egg whites for meringue peaks. This explains its vital role in achieving structure and volume in baking. Whipping pumps air into the egg whites creates a stable foam. When cooked, this forms light, airy meringues or gives essential lift to cakes and soufflés. The technique creates a matrix that traps air.
And it's the definitive way to create those lovely aerated textures for dessert toppings we all enjoy. Whipped cream.
Exactly. Whipped cream for dessert toppings. This connects the action to creating light, aerated textures perfect for dessert toppings. Whipped cream is basically heavy cream with a lot of air beaten into it, creates a fluffy, indulgent, visually appealing addition that balances rich desserts.
And modern tools have certainly made this once quite tiring task much easier and more consistent.
Significantly so, thankfully. Electric mixers whip faster. This mentions how kitchen tools boost efficiency, allows for quicker, more consistent whipping results compared to doing it by hand, which takes considerable effort and technique. Automation makes complex textures more accessible. Synonyms. To beat, often more forceful. To aerate, focuses on getting air in. Or to froth, often for liquids like milk, creating smaller bubbles.
All right, finally for this section on actions, we have to squeeze. A seemingly simple action, yet incredibly impactful for getting liquids out, intensifying flavors, or just helping with practical prep.
What's the C1 insight into the power of a good squeeze?
You're right, it's deceptively fundamental. To squeeze means forcing liquid out of something by firmly twisting, pressing, or compressing it. For a C1 learner, it's understanding its role in flavor extraction, like citrus juice, liquid removal, like from spinach, and its impact on acidity and balance in a dish. It's about using pressure for a specific culinary effect.
And it's absolutely vital for adding bright, tangy flavors, particularly with citrus, which can just transform a dish. Ceviche comes to mind. Essential for that vibrant kick. Squeeze limes for tangy ceviche. This highlights the crucial role of citrus in marinades and flavor profiles. The freshly squeezed lime juice doesn't just add bright, tangy flavor. It also chemically cooks the fish in ceviche by denaturing its proteins. It's both a flavor agent and a transformative medium.
It also helps with flavor infusion in other ways, maybe less obvious ones, like with garlic.
Definitely. Squeeze garlic through a press. This illustrates how using a garlic press helps infusion. The fine pulp you get from squeezing ruptures more cell walls than chopping. Releases potent allicin compounds more readily, intensely into dishes, gives a stronger, more pervasive garlic flavor.
And it's a remarkably practical prep technique for certain vegetables, just to manage moisture content. Spinach again.
A very practical one indeed. Squeeze excess water from spinach. This describes a necessary prep step. After cooking or thawing, spinach holds loads of water. Squeezing it out is crucial to stop the final dish being watery. Concentrates the spinach flavor, ensures proper texture in recipes like quiches or dips, other terms. To press, to extract more formal, or to wring, which often implies twisting like a cloth.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, I think. Now that we've gone through all these dynamic actions and careful preparation methods, let's talk about the delicious results. How we actually describe the food itself, the precise words we use to capture its qualities. We're starting with a common culinary complaint, a word that often signals disappointment.
Bland.
Indeed. Bland in food terms means having no pleasant, distinct, or strong flavor. For a C1 learner, understanding bland isn't just no taste. It's about the absence of character, the lack of seasoning or depth, often the failure to engage the palate properly. It's like a culinary void.
And it's often, sadly, the result of a cooking mistake or just lack of attention, isn't it? Overcooked rice, maybe? Frequently. The overboiled rice turned bland and sticky. This directly connects the term to a common cooking error. Overboiling can strip rice of its natural flavor, its desirable texture. Results in a dull, uninteresting, sticky mess that's just not satisfying. A prime example of diminishing an ingredient's potential.
So if a dish does end up bland, what's the usual immediate fix apart from just binning it?
The solution is often quite elegantly simple. Add herbs to bland soups. This offers a direct, effective remedy. Herbs, with their diverse aromatic oils, are excellent for adding layers of depth, freshness, complexity. Often give that much-needed aromatic lift to soups lacking flavor. They re-engage the senses.
It also seems to be a common description or maybe criticism for certain types of diet foods.
That's a common observation, yeah. Reflects certain health trade-offs. Diet foods often taste bland. This suggests that when aiming for lower calories, less fat, or specific nutritional goals, flavor intensity might sometimes be deliberately or accidentally compromised. Leads to a less stimulating, less exciting taste experience. Highlights that tension between health and pleasure in food. Synonyms. Flavorless means lacking all flavor. Insipid is stronger, suggesting utterly unappetizing and weak. Mild can be neutral, not necessarily bad.
Okay, our next word, chunky, describes a texture that adds substance, a certain rustic feel, and can really improve the mouthfeel. It's all about noticeable pieces, right?
Yes. Chunky for food means it has noticeable large pieces or substantial fragments within it. For a C1 learner, it's appreciating how this texture adds to the sensory experience, provides mouthfeel contrast, and often signals a less processed, more homemade quality. It's about tangible presence.
It's a texture that's particularly valued in certain popular dips like salsa, where it contributes to the whole experience.
Absolutely, for its contribution to dipping appeal and tactile satisfaction. Chunky salsa adds texture to tacos. The presence of substantial, visible pieces of tomato, onion, peppers gives salsa a satisfying bite, visual interest, makes it much more engaging, enjoyable than a completely smooth, pureed sauce.
And personal preference often plays a big role here, doesn't it? People have strong feelings about how chunky they like their guacamole, for example.
It certainly does. Prefer chunky guacamole over smooth. This shows a common personal preference for dips. Many people really enjoy the textural variety, the feeling of real avocado pieces that chunky ingredients bring to guacamole, rather than a uniform paste, which can sometimes feel less fresh or homemade.
And for certain meals, particularly hearty ones like stews or soups, that chunky texture just feels more satisfying, more substantial.
Definitely. Chunky soups satisfy heartily. This connects the texture directly to the idea of hearty, filling meals. The larger, more substantial pieces of vegetables or meat in a chunky soup contribute to a greater feeling of fullness, provides more to chew, a more robust, comforting eating experience compared to a thin, smooth broth. Synonyms: lumpy, often negative. Coarse can imply rough texture, or substantial focuses on density and presence.
From junky, let's move to chewy. This is a texture that really demands involvement from the eater, a certain resilience that can be pleasurable. What's the C1 appreciation of chewy, making it different from just tough?
It absolutely demands engagement. Chewy, describing food, means it needs a fair bit of chewing to swallow easily, possesses a desirable resistance. For a C1 learner, the key is understanding that chewy usually implies a pleasant elasticity or resilience, not an unpleasant toughness. It's about a prolonged mouthfeel that lets flavors develop.
It's often a really desirable quality for certain baked goods like bagels where it adds character.
Highly desirable, yes. Chewy bagels pair with cream cheese. This highlights it as a specific appealing texture for certain breads. The dense, resilient crumb of a chewy bagel gives a satisfying mouthfeel, a prolonged chewing experience that complements creamy toppings like cream cheese, makes it a distinctive sensory element.
But sometimes, chewiness can indicate a problem, right? Especially cooking technique. Undercooked pasta.
That's very true. Undercooked pasta is chewy. Here, chewiness signals a timing or cooking issue. If pasta isn't cooked enough, its texture stays firm, resistant, needs too much effort to chew. This is different from al dente, which has a slight bite but isn't tough or overly chewy.
Yet for other specific treats, like caramels, that very quality is the absolute definition of deliciousness.
Absolutely. Chewy caramels delight candy lovers. This emphasizes that chewiness is a highly desirable characteristic in specific sweets. The prolonged chewing lets the rich caramel flavors linger, provides a pleasurable, almost therapeutic sensation, integral to its appeal. Synonyms can range from tough, undesirable, to resilient or fibrous, describing the material quality. Highlights that nuanced continuum of chewiness.
Next, let's talk about the luxurious, comforting, and just utterly delightful feel of creamy. It seems to be a universally loved texture signifying richness. What's the C1 perspective on what makes something truly creamy?
That's a great question because creamy is definitely more than just smooth. For a C1 learner, understanding creamy involves recognizing its sensory profile, not just how it looks, but a specific, often rich mouthfeel. It implies a certain fat content, usually. A delicate, uniform consistency that coats the palate. A sense of indulgence. It's about a rich, maybe slightly unctuous quality.
So it's about how it feels as much as how it looks. And getting that perfect creaminess often takes real effort and specific techniques in the kitchen, doesn't it? Risotto, for example.
Indeed, it's often a labor of love needing careful attention. Consider creamy risotto requires constant stirring. This isn't just a suggestion, it's fundamental technique. That continuous stirring releases starches from the rice grains. These then combine with butter, cheese, forming a stable emulsion. Creates that characteristic all'onda, that wave-like, flowing, yet cohesive texture defining perfect risotto. The stirring isn't just mixing, it's engineering the texture.
So it's almost like a micro-emulsification happening right there on the stove. Fascinating. Now, when we talk about dips, what's the gold standard for creamy? Thinking of something like hummus.
Exactly. For many dips, creamy implies an ideal consistency, smooth but robust. Hummus should be creamy and spreadable. Truly creamy hummus needs finely processed chickpeas, often with tahini, lemon juice, to get a uniform suspension of solids and liquids. Too thick, it's pasty. Too thin, it's watery. Creaminess here signals that perfect balance, easy to scoop, satisfying to eat, not gloopy or grainy.
I can picture it now, coating everything beautifully. This idea of coating seems vital for creamy sauces too. Is there a scientific reason creamy sauces do that so well?
Absolutely. It's about viscosity and surface tension. Creamy sauces coat pasta evenly. The fat and emulsified liquids in a creamy sauce create a specific viscosity, allows it to stick uniformly to irregular surfaces like pasta, ensures every bite delivers full flavor, much more effective than a watery sauce that would just run off. The goal is what chefs call nappe, lightly coating the back of a spoon, or in this case, the pasta. Signifies ideal consistency. Synonyms like velvety, luscious, or silky further emphasize the sensory experience of this lovely texture. Each adds a slightly different nuance to its richness and smoothness.
Now for that universally satisfying sound and texture, crispy. It's one of those words that just makes your mouth water hearing it. Promises a delightful sensory experience. What's the C1 understanding of how crispy happens and why we love it?
It really is satisfying. Crispy, for food, describes a firm, dry texture that makes a sharp, audible crunching sound when broken or bitten. For a C1 learner, it's understanding the dehydration process creating this texture, its desirability across different cuisines, and its role in textural contrast. It's a hallmark of successful cooking, often.
And it can absolutely lift even simple breakfast items into something really special. Bacon comes to mind.
Significantly, crispy bacon elevates breakfast. This highlights its huge appeal as a breakfast favorite. The firm, dry, audibly crunchy texture of crispy bacon provides wonderful contrast to softer things like eggs or pancakes. And its savory rendered fat adds immense flavor, a highly prized texture.
It's also a very common goal when roasting many types of food, like chicken skin.
A general roasting tip to aim for, indeed. Bake until the skin is crispy. This indicates a desired outcome in roasting, especially poultry like chicken or duck. Achieving crispy skin, often through high heat, careful fat rendering, adds a highly desirable textural element. Significantly enhances the overall enjoyment and perceived quality of the dish.
And it's truly the gold standard for certain fried foods around the world. Fried chicken.
The highly desired frying result? Absolutely. Crispy fried chicken is irresistible. This describes a beloved characteristic of perfect fried chicken. The ideal crispy outside gives that satisfying crunch on first bite, seals in the juicy meat inside, creates an unparalleled sensory experience that's incredibly appealing globally. Synonyms: brittle, more fragile; crunchy, often used interchangeably, slight nuance; or simply crisp. The C1 learner understands the process like Maillard reaction, moisture removal behind this texture.
Closely related, we have crunchy. Similar to crispy, but maybe with broader application. Might refer to a slightly different kind of resistance. What's the C1 distinction between crispy and crunchy?
That's an excellent nuanced question. Crunchy means firm and making a crisp sound when pressed or chewed. While crispy often implies a dry, shattered texture from cooking, crunchy is broader. Applies equally to raw items or components, adding a distinct bite. For a C1 learner, the distinction lies in the source of the texture and its inherent resistance.
It's fantastic for adding immediate texture and vibrancy to breakfast. Granola on yogurt.
A great example of adding immediate breakfast texture. Crunchy granola tops yogurt. The firm, distinct pieces of granola provide delightful textural contrast to smooth, creamy yogurt. Makes breakfast more interesting, engaging. Here, crunchy comes from the toasted grains and nuts themselves, not necessarily a deep fry process.
And it's a direct sign of freshness and vitality in many raw foods. Fresh vegetables.
Absolutely. Fresh veggies are crunchy. This highlights how crunchiness is highly desirable, a direct indicator of freshness and hydration in raw preps. A crisp, crunchy vegetable signals it's vibrant, full of life, hasn't lost its firmness like a fresh carrot or bell pepper.
It also plays a vital role in creating dynamic texture contrast in more complex dishes, like salads with nuts or seeds.
It definitely does. Nuts add crunch to salads. This illustrates their crucial role in texture contrast. Adding crunchy elements like toasted nuts, croutons, or seeds to salads gives a satisfying bite, textural variety, prevents the salad being uniformly soft or boring, creates interest with every bite. Synonyms: crisp, often used interchangeably with crunchy; snappy implies a quick break; Or crackly suggests a lighter, more delicate sound.
Okay, finally for this section, let's talk about tinned, a very practical, everyday description for food that brings convenience to kitchens everywhere. What's the C1 perspective on tinned food beyond just knowing it's in a can?
It is indeed very practical. Tinned, referring to food, means it's preserved and sealed in an airtight metal can, mainly to extend its shelf life. For a C1 learner, it's understanding its role as a pantry staple, its implications for convenience and accessibility, and the specific culinary functions it serves, often different from fresh ingredients. It's about food preservation, practicality.
And it's a truly fundamental pantry staple, isn't it? Forming the base of countless recipes for home cooks. Tinned tomatoes, for example.
A true kitchen workhorse, certainly. Tinned tomatoes form sauce bases. This emphasizes its role as an incredibly versatile pantry staple. Tinned tomatoes, often picked and processed at peak ripeness, provide a convenient, consistent, flavorful foundation for numerous sauces, stews, braises, often offer a deeper flavor than out-of-season fresh tomatoes.
It also offers incredible convenience for quick meals. Invaluable in busy households. Tinned fish for a quick salad.
Highlighting its convenience, without a doubt, tinned fish makes quick salads. Tinned fish tuna, sardines, mackerel is a ready-to-eat protein source, significantly speeds up meal prep, makes it an ideal, healthy option for quick, easy salads, sandwiches, light meals, a go-to for speed.
And of course, its primary benefit, why it exists, is its remarkable longevity. Stocking up on tinned beans.
Definitely a key advantage. Stock up on tinned beans. This highlights the benefit of their extended shelf life. Tinned beans are economical, long-lasting, provide convenient, nutritious protein and fiber, can be stored for long periods, offering reliability, reducing food waste. Synonyms: canned, the most common American English term. Preserved, broader, covers many methods. Or jarred, similar preservation but in glass jars.
So what does all this mean for you when you're actually talking about food? Beyond ingredients and methods, there's the whole experience of eating, right? The context, the company, the feelings involved. Let's explore some words describing those culinary occasions and the profound feelings they can bring up. We'll start with the very fundamental primal feeling. Appetite.
Appetite. It's simply the physiological and psychological feeling of wanting food, driven by hunger, sure, but also influenced by senses, emotions. For a C1 learner, it's understanding the nuances of how it's stimulated or suppressed, its role in enjoyment, and its idiomatic expressions in English. It's definitely more than just feeling hungry.
And certain activities can really build up a strong desire for food, can't they? Like after exercise.
Absolutely. Exercise builds a hearty appetite. This connects physical activity directly to hunger. Strenuous exercise uses energy, signals the body needs refueling, stimulates a strong, almost ravenous, hearty desire for food, a natural, healthy response.
And sensory things like smells and flavors can play a huge role in stimulating it too, even before you take a bite. Spices.
Indeed. Spices stimulate the appetite. This discusses the powerful role of flavor and aroma. Aromatic spices with their enticing smells and tastes can wake up the taste buds, trigger digestive responses, make you feel more eager, ready to eat. It's the brain anticipating pleasure.
But appetite isn't always just physical, is it? Our emotions can hugely impact it, often in surprising ways. Stress, for example.
A significant point about emotional and psychological impact. She lost her appetite from stress. This shows how psychological states, like stress or anxiety, can profoundly affect our desire for food, sometimes suppressing it entirely. Due to the body's fight or flight response, which diverts energy away from digestion. Synonyms: hunger, the physical feeling; craving, strong desire for a specific food; or just desire, more general longing. C1 learners know phrases like to whet one's appetite or to spoil one's appetite.
Okay, from a simple desire for food, let's elevate our view to the grandeur of a banquet. This word immediately brings images of lavish events, often full of tradition and ceremony. What truly defines a banquet for a C1 speaker?
It does. It speaks to spectacle. A banquet is a large, formal, elaborate meal for many people, usually held to celebrate something special, honor someone, or for a ceremonial occasion. For a C1 learner, it's understanding its formal structure, its social and political significance, its historical grandeur. More than just a big dinner, it's a statement event.
And it's often intrinsically linked to ceremonies, celebrations, formal recognition, award banquets.
Precisely. The award banquet honored achievers. This connects the banquet directly to ceremonial events. A formal meal serves as an integral part of celebrating achievements, bestowing honors in a structured, often public setting, lends importance to the recognition.
Historically, banquets were truly magnificent displays, weren't they? Showing off immense wealth and power. Royal banquets.
They absolutely featured historical grandeur. Royal banquets feature elaborate menus. This describes the lavishness of past royal events. Banquets were spectacles of wealth, power, culinary art, often many courses, complex presentations, exotic ingredients, demonstrations of status.
And even today, they still serve a very practical strategic function in the corporate world, beyond just eating. Networking.
A key business function, undeniably. Corporate banquets network professionals. This highlights how banquets are strategically used as formal yet conducive gatherings in business, provide an environment for professionals to connect, build relationships, have informal discussions in a more relaxed setting than a boardroom. Synonyms. Feast often implies abundance and joy. Gala dinner, a formal celebratory meal. Or symposium, a formal meeting, often with intellectual discussion alongside food.
Building on that sense of abundance and communal eating, let's talk about a feast. It often implies generosity, joy, a shared experience. Maybe less formal than a banquet, but just as significant. What's the C1 understanding of a feast?
It certainly does imply abundance and joyous sharing. A feast is typically a meal with particularly fine and abundant food, or a large meal shared by many, often in celebration or for special occasion. For a C1 learner, it's recognizing its celebratory nature, its cultural significance and traditions, and its generous quantity and quality of food.
It's a word synonymous with some of the most beloved holiday traditions globally, bringing families together. Thanksgiving, for example.
A classic holiday tradition, certainly. Thanksgiving feast unites families. This references a cultural holiday where a large, elaborate meal is central to family gatherings, shared celebration, embodies gratitude, togetherness, often hospitality. The food is the focus of the shared experience.
And a feast can also be a wonderful way to highlight regional specialties, local culinary bounty. A seafood feast.
Indeed. A feast of seafood delights coasts. This emphasizes regional specialties, where an abundance of fresh, high-quality local produce, like diverse seafood along coasts, creates a celebratory meal reflecting the area's natural bounty, culinary heritage, a celebration of place.
And it often follows a period of anticipation, hard work, or even doing without something, making the indulgence feel even better, like after a fast.
Yes. Often a contrast of profound relief and satisfaction. Post-fast feasts satisfy deeply. This points to the profound satisfaction, comfort from a feast after fasting or restraint. The abundance and richness are particularly appreciated, nourishing, both physically and psychologically. Synonyms: lavish meal, banquet, noting the overlap in scale or spread, which can imply less formal but still generous food array.
Next, let's explore that wonderfully popular relaxed meal that elegantly combines two others. Brunch. It's become a modern institution, hasn't it? What's the C1 insight into the phenomenon of brunch?
It absolutely has. Brunch is precisely a meal served late morning, typically combining elements from both breakfast and lunch. For a C1 learner, it's understanding its leisurely social nature, its diverse culinary offerings, and its cultural evolution as a flexible dining concept. It's an occasion as much as a meal.
And it's almost universally associated with relaxed social occasions, particularly on weekends. With mimosas, maybe?
A quintessential leisurely social event, without a doubt. Sunday brunch includes mimosas. This highlights the relaxed, often celebratory nature of brunch, frequently accompanied by alcoholic drinks like mimosas or Bloody Marys. Makes it a highly popular weekend activity for socializing, unwinding, an extended, unhurried event.
And it's a fantastic opportunity for culinary variety, catering to lots of different tastes at once. Buffets often feature.
Definitely. Brunch buffets offer variety. This emphasizes the diversity of menu options typically available at brunch. Combining sweet and savory, traditional breakfast items, lighter lunch fare, caters to a wide range of tastes, preferences, appeals to everyone in a group.
And like all things culinary, brunch is also evolving, isn't it? Reflecting changing dietary preferences and trends. Vegan brunch.
Highlighting modern adaptations and culinary shifts. Vegan brunch trends rise. This points to contemporary culinary movements. Brunch menus increasingly adapting to include plant-based options. Reflects changing diets, ethical considerations, a broader embrace of diverse culinary styles. Synonyms: late breakfast, mid-morning meal, or maybe fusion repast, emphasizing the blend of meal types.
Speaking of variety, let's discuss the highly practical and wonderfully social aspects of a buffet. It's a serving method that feels inherently communal. What's the C1 understanding of a buffet?
It is indeed inherently communal and incredibly practical. A buffet is a meal with many different dishes laid out on a table or counter. People serve themselves, usually eating elsewhere, often standing or at tables. For a C1 learner, it's understanding its efficiency for large gatherings, its culinary diversity, and the social dynamics it creates. It's about choice and accessibility.
It's an incredibly practical and efficient choice for catering large events, diverse groups, weddings, for example.
Excellent for event practicality, without a doubt. Wedding buffets cater crowds. This emphasizes its efficiency for serving many guests at events like weddings, conferences, parties, allows individuals to choose what they want, often accommodating various dietary needs, helps manage service flow more flexibly than a plated meal.
And for many travelers, a hotel buffet is often a highlight, right? Offering a taste of global cuisines.
A significant travel appeal, absolutely. Hotel buffets feature global cuisines. This highlights the attractive diversity often offered in hotel buffets, especially breakfast or dinner. Guests can sample a wide range of international dishes, catering to varied tastes from around the world, a culinary world tour.
And it always creates a certain unique social dynamic, doesn't it? People moving around, interacting, maybe pointing things out.
It certainly does. Buffet lines form eagerly. This describes the social dynamic associated with buffets. People often queue with anticipation, eager to survey the dishes, make choices. Encourages movement, mingling, often discussion about the food itself. Synonyms: self-service spread, smorgasbord, often implying wider selection, especially cold dishes or all-you-can-eat, emphasizing quantity.
Our final term in this section takes us into the charm and ritual of tea time. This is more than just a cup of tea. It's a whole experience, especially in certain cultures. What's the C1 cultural significance of tea time?
You're right, it's far more than just a drink. Tea time refers to a light meal served either early evening or, more commonly, afternoon, often centered around tea in small bites. For a C1 learner, it's understanding its cultural ritual, its social function, and the aesthetic importance of its presentation. It's a pause, a moment of civilized indulgence.
It's deeply ingrained cultural ritual in some places, isn't it? Almost a specific ceremony, like in Britain with scones.
A very strong cultural ritual, absolutely. British tea time includes scones. This connects tea time to its profound cultural significance, particularly in Britain, where it's a cherished tradition. Involves specific foods, scones with jam and clotted cream, delicate sandwiches, pastries, served alongside various teas, embodies a particular social grace.
And it can serve as a really valuable social and energy boost during the workday or in a more casual setting. Office tea time.
A definite workplace perk and social lubricator. Office tea time boosts morale. This highlights its role in the workplace. Offers a brief social interlude, an energy-boosting break. Can improve camaraderie, productivity, provides a moment of respite, a miniature social gathering.
In the presentation, the whole look and feel of it can be incredibly important, elevating the entire occasion. Elegant teacups and stands.
Very much so. Elegant tea time sets impress. This focuses on the aesthetic aspect. Using fine china, delicate silverware, multi-tiered stands, decorative arrangements significantly enhances the experience, leaves a lasting impression, underscores the formality and beauty of the ritual. Synonyms. Afternoon tea often refers to the full, formal experience. High tea, traditionally a more substantial working-class evening meal, though often confused with afternoon tea, or just snack break, much more informal.
Right, from grand banquets to quiet tea time. These experiences are shaped not just by the food, but really profoundly by the tools we use to make it, and crucially, how we present it. Let's round out our deep dive with some essential vocabulary for the culinary setup itself. We'll start with a very familiar, often absolutely necessary tool, the corkscrew.
The corkscrew. It's a small tool with that pointy spiral metal part called the worm, specifically designed for pulling corks out of bottles, mostly wine bottles. For a C1 learner, it's understanding its specific function, its design variations for efficiency, and its cultural association with wine service. It's a specialized opener.
It's almost intrinsically linked to the ritual of serving wine, isn't it? You see a corkscrew, you think wine.
Absolutely. Use a corkscrew for red wines. This connects the tool directly to its main function in wine service, makes it indispensable for opening bottled wines with traditional corks. It's a signal a special occasion or meal is starting.
And some designs are specifically made for professional use, right? Prioritizing efficiency, portability, the waiter's friend.
Indeed. Waiters' corkscrews fold compactly. This highlights its design as a professional tool, often preferred by sommeliers, waiters for its portability, efficiency, multifunctionality. Its compact design allows for a discreet, swift bottle opening. Often includes a small knife for foil cutting, a lever for leverage.
And the name itself just perfectly describes how it works, that spiral action.
It does. Corkscrew curls extract firmly. This describes the actual mechanism. The spiraling worm part twists into the cork, grips it securely, then, with leverage, allows the cork to be pulled out firmly, cleanly. Other terms. Bottle opener, though more general. Wine key for the waiter's style. Or maybe spiraling extractor.
Okay, next, let's appreciate the elegance, variety, and impact of glassware on a dining experience. It's more than just something to hold liquid. What's the C1 appreciation for glassware?
Glassware refers to objects made of glass, particularly those used for eating and drinking. Covers a wide range of designs, purposes, levels of formality. For a C1 learner, it's understanding its role in enhancing presentation, its functional pairing with beverages, and its care requirements. It's about elevating the drinking experience.
It can truly elevate a dining experience, can't it? Add a touch of sophistication, luxury, crystal glassware.
It certainly does. Crystal glassware elevates dinners. This emphasizes the luxury, refinement, aesthetic enhancement that fine glassware brings. The sparkle, the delicate feel of crystal can make an occasion feel more special, polished, signals attention to detail, quality.
And there's a genuine art and etiquette to pairing specific glasses with specific drinks, isn't there? Wine glasses especially.
A definite pairing etiquette, without a doubt. Match glassware to wines. This discusses the practice of selecting specific glass shapes, sizes for different wines, like a wide bowl for red wine to aerate, a flute for champagne to keep bubbles. This is believed to enhance the wine's aroma, flavor profile, overall drinking experience.
But by its very nature, it often needs careful handling, right? It's fragile.
A crucial handling note: fragile glassware needs care. This reminds us of the delicate nature of many glass items, especially fine crystal or thin-rimmed glasses, the paramount importance of careful handling, washing, storage to prevent breakage. Synonyms: table glass, more general; stemware, specifically glasses with stems; or drinkware, a very broad category for drinking vessels.
Our final word in this deep dive is tureen. It's a beautiful, classic piece of servingware. Evokes a sense of tradition, formal presentation. What's its C1 significance in the culinary world?
A tureen. It's a deep, lidded dish specifically designed for serving soup, stews, other liquid-based dishes at the table, often ceremonially. For a C1 learner, it's understanding its historical context, its decorative and functional purpose, and its association with formal dining. It's a vessel of elegance.
It's almost always associated with formal or decorative serving, isn't it? Often as a centerpiece, silver tureens.
Exactly. Silver tureens grace formal tables. This describes its use in decorative serving, often as a centerpiece on elegant dining tables. Its ornate design, often valuable materials, add sophistication, tradition, importance to the meal, enhances the visual appeal of the spread.
And beyond looking good, it also serves a very practical function for serving hot dishes like soup, keeping it warm.
Very much so. Ladle from the tureen warmly. This highlights its essential practical function. The lid helps keep the soup or stew warm throughout the meal. Its depth holds a generous amount, allows for elegant, convenient serving with the ladle directly at the table.
And over time, some tureens have even become prized collector's items, haven't they? Appreciated for their craftsmanship. Antique ones.
They have, connecting them to collectible items. Antique tureens collect dust. This points to how older tureens, especially those made of valuable materials like silver or porcelain or with intricate designs, can transition from functional serving pieces to decorative items or prized collectibles, often displayed rather than used. Other names: soup tureen, specifying content; serving vessel, more general; or lidded bowl.
Hashtag Shack Shack outro.
Well, that was a truly delicious and incredibly insightful journey through the diverse world of C1 level cooking vocabulary. We've covered so much, haven't we? From essential transformative techniques like to simmer and to whip, to those evocative descriptions of texture and flavor like creamy and crispy, and even the grandeur and social significance of dining occasions like a banquet. Reaching this level of linguistic finesse with food, it isn't just about sounding more articulate. It means your culinary narratives will truly sizzle. It's about being able to describe the nuances, how it's made, how it feels, how it's experienced with, well, unparalleled richness and flair.
Yeah, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, the real power of this deep dive comes from actually using it. We genuinely challenge you now to actively experiment with these new words, maybe describe your next home-cooked meal or recent dining experience using the specific vocabulary we have explored today. Knowledge, after all, is most valuable when it's truly understood and applied, or not just passively taken in. Practice is absolutely key to embedding these sophisticated terms deep into your own lexicon, making them second nature as you confidently talk about the captivating culinary world.
So, as you reflect on all these fascinating terms and their deeper meanings, here's a little provocative thought for you to ponder. How does the very language we choose to describe food influence not just how we perceive it intellectually, but also, quite profoundly, how we experience it with our senses? Can a more precise and evocative vocabulary actually make a dish taste better in our minds simply by giving us a richer framework to appreciate its complexities and nuances? Something to think about. We truly hope you found this deep dive valuable and that it's thoroughly whetted your appetite for more linguistic and culinary exploration. We encourage you to continue your learning journey with us. If you found this deep dive useful and enjoyable, please do take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel, Learn English Lab. We'll have more engaging resources to help you master English. Until next time, happy learning and happy eating.